Big transfer talk ready. Let's start with my side, being as it's my side. We're the best side. But in all honesty, the great part about this is Arsenal are finally doing business quickly. Wrapped up Kai Havertz, 65 million, very quickly. And the big boy fee agreed, 105 million for Declan Rice. Finally, the deals are getting done quickly. And that's not it. Arsenal are also in for Timber as well. So, yo, hats off to Arteta. Hats off to Edu and the board for this. Arsenal are finally learning from mistakes made in the past. Last year we did make these quick deals and it turned out to hurt us. And finally we're learning. Can we now finally, after learning from the mistakes and doing things differently, can we now finally win the Premier League with these signings?
I mean, that's a question you ask yourself. Is Rice enough when Xhaka is probably going to leave, and perhaps maybe Partey when his bail is up in July? I don't know. I don't think so. It's so hard for me to say to put Arsenal as a favorite, even though the signings are impressive. Declan Rice, of course, everybody, not for that price, perhaps, but everybody would have loved him to have him on the team. Havertz, I mean, we're still to see what Arteta's plan is with him. Timber, I have my doubts. He's a short center back, but he will probably be playing more as a right back. But I still think Arsenal need more. Like you said, a striker, perhaps. I don't know how much money you've got left in your bank, to be honest. This is already verging on 200 million pounds, not euros, pounds.
Yeah, well, a lot of it came from the second place, right? You know, as we said, that's probably one of the benefits. I know we said that wasn't much a difference between second and fourth, but that's probably one of them is the money and the flexibility to be able to spend this type of money now that it's come in. And maybe, guess what? Maybe Kroenke is finally deciding to flex his spending muscle for once. The man has been not spending for years on years on years. And finally, 2 years ago, his LA Rams won. Now his Denver Nuggets won. Is he not looking to win with Arsenal this year? It seemed like a trend for the Cronkies. But let's give props to the management and hierarchy at Arsenal this time. We've definitely beat up on them when they didn't do these things. I know that they've done it. We have to give them the props.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. It's the price is hefty. It's hefty. It's no player is worth that amount of money. But I mean, it's me saying that is just sounding like a broken record. Nobody is gonna be worth the price that they go for in the current market.
Might have to disagree on that, but that is because I think Declan Rice can make the difference for Arsenal. If Arsenal now go on to win the league after this, it's going to be worth the investment at the end of the day, for sure.
I mean, if you're looking at just results, yeah, but you have to look at the long term and bigger picture. At some point, I mean, I said this before. At some point, this has got to stop, and you paying 105 million pounds for Declan Rice ain't gonna stop that. So in the long run, it's gonna be a loss because you cannot pay that much amount of money for a top player that you're expected to pay now and be sustainable. It just isn't.
No, but as in, it doesn't mean, okay, maybe for the footballing community or like the industry of how prices are set for players nowadays, maybe yes, it will increase because of this Declan Rice deal. But I think if we're looking at it in a vacuum to say Declan Rice, is he worth 105 million on its own? Obviously, time will tell, but I think yes. I think he's gonna he's gonna provide more of an impact than Grealish did for City.
He just might as well, but that doesn't mean that he is worth 100 million plus pounds. Ain't no
What
way.
do you have to
Ain't
do
no
to
way.
be worth 100 million?
Nobody should be worth 100 million pounds. That's simple as.
What's the cap that you would spend on a given player?
I mean, I don't want to give it. There's no cap. I mean, every player is different. Every club situation is different. And if you're spending this much money, you've obviously decided that, yeah, we need to go spend this much money because he's worth it. That's the club's decision.
But
I
you are,
just
yeah,
I,
you're saying that there's no player worth 100 million, right?
it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that way. And I know
Right. So
I'm just being unrealistic because what can you do to stop teams from paying this much or asking this much because teams are gonna pay for it. But
So
it's just
besides that, besides what people would pay for it, no, like you are having an opinion on what you think is essentially the max amount that a player should be worth, right? Because you're saying if 100 million is too much for any player, what would you say is the max? Who is, if you're saying the most valuable player right now, Mbappe, how much would you say? Forget what the market says, forget what everyone else says. What would you say you would pay for Mbappe?
I can't give an answer to that because every club is gonna be different. How much revenue do you bring in per year? Is it £1 billion? I know nobody's making £1 billion a year. It just depends on your club size, the amount of money you're spending on a regular basis, your wages, your training facilities, match day facilities. And from my calculations, as far as I'm aware, it's not healthy or sustainable unless you're backed by a state fund like PSG or a City or any of these teams. It's not. It doesn't make sense to spend that much money on a player.
Okay, let me reframe the question.
No,
Or
it's fine. I mean, it's fine. It's not realistic. What I'm asking for is we can just move on. But either way, this money that clubs are paying for players, nobody's complaining if the player does come in and upgrades the side to a whole new level. Nobody's complaining about what Liverpool paid for Van Dijk or Alisson now. We were complaining or we were making fun of him 5 years ago. Nobody's saying anything about them now. So do I still believe that Van Dijk was worth £75 million? I don't know. But it is what the club paid for, and it is what it is nowadays. And I mean, I could say the same thing for everybody, so it's fine. We can just move on.
all right. Before we move on to the next topic, I would want to ask you a quick one though. With all this talk, what does Declan Rice have to do at Arsenal in order to be considered a success?
Win the Premier League. That's it. Win something that's valuable, not just a cup, but win the Champions League. I don't know if that's possible, but Premier League seems more realistic.
And to win something is not easy. A man who has struggled to do that in his entire career, a man like Harry Kane, who is seeming like he is finally on his way out of Tottenham. Thank you very much. And he is looking to get a trophy because the first suitor at the moment is Bayern Munich, who had a 60 million bid for him rejected. Interestingly enough, Tottenham, are they just trying to milk the money out of Kane right now, or what? Because I mean, why would you even try and keep a player who's just clearly not trying to stay there anymore?
Kane is the best striker in the world right now, and he's worth more than that. And I sound hypocritical because
That's what I was
I
about to say. This guy going
no.
on, but
Well, I'm saying in the current market, he's worth more than that. That bid probably went straight to trash. It's 60 mil. Are you kidding me?
all right. So current market, age, all of this considered, how much is Kane worth?
I'll pay 80 million pounds. I think that's fair for a player who's about to turn 30 this summer, but he's still at the peak of his career. Or I mean, he might be entering the peak of his career, I think.
Yeah,
So
with his style, the way that he plays, it's it's interesting that you say that, right? Because there's different players who have different styles, who have different strengths, and his is not necessarily athleticism. It's actually quite a lot is IQ, which
Yeah.
is gonna grow as time goes on, the more experience he gets. So you might be right. He might be actually getting into kind of, I guess, his own respective peak. Now, having that said, do you think that Kane can take Bayern to another level?
I mean, it's such an easy thing to do to go to Bayern because oh, by the way, we discussed about this how Bayern are winning 11 and probably 12 in a row next season if Kane does go there. So check out our previous episode. But I mean, on paper, it makes perfect sense. You know, they're having Choupo-Moting, who was supposed to be just an emergency backup striker. He was playing there as the main striker in a crucial Champions League games. So it makes perfect sense for him to go there. But I mean, the guy's never pushed a move from Tottenham away, right? Even to a side like City, who are probably more of a guaranteed success than Bayern Munich are right now if he were to go there. So I find it very hard to see him forcing a move to Bayern. And plus, if he were to, I think his focus is on breaking that record of Alan Shearer. He's not going to do that by going to Bayern Munich. I find it very hard to see that he will actually go to Bayern. I mean, we'll see if something changes, but just moving to Bayern for me is just such a boring move.
Yeah, but not for him because he don't got trophies. And Bayern, as you said, are basically guaranteed a trophy every single year at this point.
Right, but
Yeah.
then you think about it this way. They are like, for example, let's say Van Dijk. He came into Liverpool and he won them the Premier League and the Champions League, right? You could safely say that. You wouldn't be able to say the same about Harry Kane. He would just be going there as almost like a cherry on top. You know, I mean,
Okay, so where could Harry Kane go to kind of establish his reign or his impact on a team?
I mean, you know the answer. Manchester United. I mean,
The man just wants
again,
Kane at Man U, bro.
it's just a perfect match on everything, on paper, style, circumstances, just everything. I wish he was a bit more firm on his stance. I mean, he came out and did an interview with Gary Neville on a golf course, how he made it public he wanted to go to City, but that never got pushed further than that, I don't think, and ended up staying at Tottenham. I think if he pushes, he has a chance to leave because Tottenham are building something different. We'll touch on them later, but they are building something different. They brought in a new manager. I think Tottenham are going to be a totally different team, a different side from what we're used to seeing over the past 3-4 years. And if the manager decides that selling Kane is the way to go, and Kane forces that, I think there's a chance. But I mean, maybe it's his lack of ambition. I don't know, but I don't think he's ever fully pushed for a move away from Tottenham, and it's just so frustrating to see. For a strike, I think he could be up there as one of the best strikers the Premier League has ever seen.
But here's the thing though with Kane, right? I know from an outsider perspective, it may look like he's not pushing this move, XYZ. The reality is we don't know everything that goes on behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, we
And
don't.
I think we can see as fans that Kane is just such a professional person. Like he's always gonna in every interview he goes into, he's always just gonna say the right thing. He's the England captain. Like he's kind of like the good boy in the footballing world, if you will. You know what I mean?
You just called a 30-year-old man a good boy,
You know what I mean, though. He's
like a
like a
dog.
teacher's pet almost for real. Like he's this kind of guy, you know. And I think because of that, he's not the kind of person who's gonna create stir in the media and this kind of thing. He's not gonna attract so much negative media attention as like maybe like a Balotelli or someone of this nature. He's just not that kind of guy. So, you know, as you said, he made it public that he did want to move to City, but it wasn't all over the news, etc., right? So maybe he does have these feelings, but he just doesn't blast them out to the media necessarily. But
Yeah,
yo,
I
how
mean,
dangerous would that side be? Bayern with Kane in there.
yeah, I mean, if he doesn't come to us, I wouldn't mind him going to Bayern. Weakens
Yeah,
Tottenham.
just get him the league, bro.
Yeah, I don't have to see him. You know, it's good, but
Yeah, I'm
that would
tired of
be
that, man. No lie. I'm very tired of that, man.
but that would be such a waste of his talent, his legacy in the Premier League. He needs to stay in the Premier League and preferably come to us. But I mean, fingers crossed. But enough of Kane. You know, touch on Tottenham. They finally signed a keeper.
Lloris
And
out, baby.
yeah, I mean, obviously we don't know much about the keeper. He's from Empoli. Empoli are apparently a very defensive, low block team. So and Tottenham aren't going to play low block under Postecoglou. So we'll see. I mean, the players like Ederson, he came from was it Benfica? Benfica or the dominant side in Portugal, right? So the dynamic is almost very similar when he made that move to City. So, but it'll be interesting to see how he can make that adjustment. If he can, I mean, just simple things like if he can get the timing right to come out at the right time, like how Ederson or Allison even usually seems to get it right. But a more pertinent signing, a player that was linked with Arsenal 2 seasons ago, James Maddison.
Yeah, you could argue they got him on the steal based on what people were bidding for last season. But I do rate Madison as a player, and I know I'm a sound bias because this is him signing for Tottenham, but I really feel like he's gonna be a flop, and I feel like Tottenham are gonna once again flop next season. I see this as like a Bissouma type of signing. He comes in, and there's so much hype, and Tottenham just can't get the style to fit in.
But why you say that though? Why?
I know there's a new manager, but honestly, it's just my gut feeling. I can't really describe it. I feel that he probably was the piece that they were missing. I think Tottenham were missing that kind of Ericsson replacement for years now. They didn't have anybody to come in and replace what he was bringing to the side, that creativity, that both footedness to be able to create chances and create danger for everybody, for not just Kane to create chances, but he can also add attacking threats, not from just chance creation and assist, but he can score goals too. Madison, we've seen that. And I think as well from the set piece, it will be very, very helpful for them just on paper. But something just tells me that he's just not gonna click there. I don't know what it is. I feel like it's maybe his personality. Madison just he didn't seem like he was trying a lot for Leicester, but he didn't seem like he was able to really get a grip of the side himself. You could see he was trying, but you could just sense a little bit was off. And I think if Kane leaves, that's going to make it even harder on Madison because Kane was the guy. He was the leader for Tottenham, or you could say is. But if Madison has Kane now to work off of, at least that will relieve some of the pressure from Madison to, as we say, take games by the scruff of the neck. But if Kane leaves, even worse. But I'm interested to see how the manager sets up the side and puts Madison in there and integrates him. But my gut says no.
Well, I mean that's where I disagree because I know a lot of people pipe him as a successor or replacement, a long due replacement for Christian Eriksen. You could say they play similar. They've both got a wicked right foot. They can both use their left foot, of course, not as precise as their right foot. But Eriksen is more of a controller, if that makes sense. You know, he's always going to look for the passes, the gaps. Whereas Madison, I view him more of as like a Dele Alli type. He can, of course, he can create chances, but his main strength is providing that final goal, final shots, that final third output. That's where Dele Alli excelled so well. I mean, the guy had what 20 to 30 goal involvements every season. This is when he was good. And the one you mentioned about how him not being able to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, that's his biggest weakness, right? Where, I mean, he used to be compared to Grealish. Grealish has shown that ability to be able to do that. On a side that was struggling, like Aston Villa, he took them out of relegation, not so great. But the season after, he had a very great season, which ended up in £100 million move to City. Whereas Maddison probably doesn't have that ability. He struggled when he played with Ndidi because he had to oftentimes drop back to help with just passing in general. So I say this with a provision that if Tottenham do manage to sign their targets and strengthen all areas of the pitch very well, I think Maddison could be a very smart signing. If they don't, I could see him struggling too.
The difference with me, and I know this wasn't your real main point, but the difference with me between Maddison and Ali is Ali's more of a off the ball movement kind of player. He's more wanting to make the running and connect with the person passing. Whereas Maddison, I think, wants to be on the ball. And I think that's a difference. And that creates a lot of difference in the side. Who's gonna be on the ball? Who wants to be on the ball? Having ball players in the side can really make a difference. So, but yeah, overall, we can see what Maddison ends up bringing to Tottenham, if it is even anything, because maybe Tottenham might just ruin his career as well, as they've done with several other of their signings.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't deny that the price is amazing though. 40 mil on paper, but it's actually 30 because they've sent Harry Winks the other way for £10 million. Harry Winks was not being used. He was on loan last season, got relegated in Italy. So pretty much £30 million for a player who's had the sixth most goal involvements over the past 3 seasons. Or seventh. The 6 players in front of him are Kevin De Bruyne, Son, his teammate, Harry Kane, again his teammate, Bruno Fernandes, and the last one might surprise you, but it's Ollie Watkins from Aston Villa. And of course, Mo Salah to round off the 6 players in front of him. But he is proven in the Premier League.
There we go. Let's switch things over to your side a bit now. It's not Kane, but it is Caicedo that you guys are linked with at the moment. Seems like you guys are looking for that push. What do you make of this signing? Is this someone that you even think that you need? Is this someone that you think is going to be worth the price that is being thrown around?
No, we're not signing him. There's no. The links were to bring Chelsea back into the negotiation table for another player, Mason Mount. I'll say it right now, we're not signing Caicedo. I'm confident, but Mason Mount is pretty much a done deal for £60 million package, 55 guaranteed plus £5 million that are described as difficult. Now, I don't know what they mean by difficult. Does that mean Mount has to go, I don't know, win the NBA or something? Like, what do you mean by difficult? You know, if it's winning the Premier League or the Champions League, that's not difficult. I mean, okay, it is difficult, but it's not. It's just the way they phrased it was very weird. But yeah, I don't know what's happened to Mount. He's a Chelsea youth player, as we all know. He's always had this Chelsea mindset, right? He's always kissing the badge. He's always shown his love for the club. But then, I mean, I'm sure something went on behind the scenes to the point where he was desperate to leave. He was either going to leave for free or this summer, or for free next summer. So, but either way, I mean, he's grown on me. I mean, I don't know. This might be a very unpopular opinion, but I'm just happy to not see Eriksen in the midfield. that often because he was shocking in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I think Mount is gonna be a good signing. It might be expensive. He is young, but he clearly has quality. There's technical brilliance, and he in the past seasons as well has shown that he can score goals. So I think he'll be a welcome addition to you guys, but it doesn't solve the issue. You guys still need a striker.
Yeah, I mean, uh, yeah, a striker would be very nice. But another thing that comes with Eriksen not being in the side is not just Mount's defensive and off the ball abilities. We don't need to talk about that. He can run for days, but also how Eriksen was so static, not just defensively, but in an attacking sense, where it left the winger and oftentimes Luke Shaw was being played as a left sided center back, right? So whoever started off the left was alone a lot of the times because Eriksen would not be that kind of dynamic player. And the left hand side, we often had Jadon Sancho, and Jadon Sancho isn't like a Eden Hazard or Martinelli or anything like that. He's not gonna his dribbling past people and with pace and with skills is not his strength. He needs players around him. So I'm looking forward to that as well. I think that'll help Jadon Sancho. But yeah, again, is Rashford gonna play the main striker? I don't think that's his best position. Um, so but then again, who can we realistically sign as a striker option? Just
Nah, it's tough for real. There's really not many top strikers out there that are going for reasonable prices at this point, right? There's
yeah.
Kane, as we know, obviously. There's Victor Osimhen, who's going for what? 200 million, I think was a quote or something like that.
Yeah, but probably
So
like
it's ridiculous.
130, 150 maybe.
Still
Yeah, still.
absolutely ridiculous. But another side who is struggling to find a striker, Chelsea. Again, yo, they just sold Mount. They just sold Havertz. Boy, they're on a clear out at the moment. What do you think about this clear out? I feel like it's kind of rush, but part of me feels like it was needed.
Yeah, 100%. Most of their players from the old regime are now gone or will be gone. The only three that will be left from the previous regime, or three, four, five, um, are I mean Thiago Silva who could retire at any moment now, and the two wingbacks, Chilwell and Reece James. I wonder if there's some type of, I mean, we see that with any type of leadership. Somebody comes in and they try to clear traces of the old regime. Is that what's happening with Chelsea right now? Perhaps, I don't know. It could be, but even without the aid of the Saudi Arabian teams, I mean, they sold Koulibaly and Mendy and CH, and they're trying to sell Lukaku to them, but just Mount and Havertz alone, they've made 125 million pounds, right? Um,
Right, but
Chelsea,
those were their two young players, right? So I want to look at the profiles of the players that you just mentioned and some other ones that they're offloading or looking to offload. Kante getting older. Koulibaly also kind of getting older. Kovacic getting older, and I felt like he was quality. I actually felt like they could have kept him, but recoup some good money for him. 30 million for a 30-year-old or 31-year-old is quite good value. Mendy wasn't playing. He needed to get out, and he was old. And we called it. We don't need to talk about him anymore. And you obviously mentioned Havertz and Mount already. And the last two, Loftus Cheek and Christian Pulisic being rumored out as well. So
both of them who've got to go. Yeah.
they both got to go. I still don't know if Pulisic got to go yet because he definitely has quality, but his injuries have hurt him. But again, I'm just looking at the profiles and I'm looking at the age of those players, right? So if they're trying to do a thing with Pulisic where they recoup a lot of the money back, just like what they did with Havertz and Mount, then it could make sense. The Loftus Cheek one, maybe it's not worth really diving deeper into, but what do you think? I mean, I thought he's a pretty good utility type of player, versatile. He's able to play right back, central mid, attacking mid.
I mean, he's always had the promise. I mean, he's a freak physically, but I think he got injured in that friendly mid-season, and he never really recovered from that. He had to go. He wasn't. Yeah, I know he's been shipped around multiple positions, even multiple clubs, but I just don't think he was ever going to make it at Chelsea to the level that Chelsea were probably expecting. Mount, it's straight up profit. 55 million profit straight back into, because he cost zero technically.
Right.
I mean, all these players, they have so many players to sell. And I mean, who makes these decisions? Is it the manager? I don't know if it's 100% the manager, because I think he wanted to work with Mount. He might give Lukaku a chance, but Lukaku doesn't want to stay at Chelsea. They still have so many players to sell, so many. Looking like they might have to sell the whole starting 11 for I mean, up to that many players still.
Are you scared about who they might bring in as replacements for these people?
Yeah, I'm always scared of Chelsea. This is Chelsea. Chelsea can bounce back from. This is nothing new for them. Of course, this is a historical low, very low, historically low point. But that's their culture. You know, they always bounce back, and very quick at that. So I'm scared. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting summer, because if they go out and sell all these players, which they're in the process of doing at the moment, we'll have to expect some incomings. But where? Where from?
They're probably going to get Caicedo. Personal terms already agreed. Or only a matter of agreeing with Brighton, which is going to be tough because Caicedo just signed a contract in the winter. But maybe Brighton will do them a favor, seeing as how Chelsea have paid what £30 million to get Graham Potter out of the Amex Stadium. If Osimhen comes to Chelsea, I mean, I think that's a complete side almost.
Okay, Caicedo and Osimhen to complete the Chelsea comeback is what you're predicting.
Well, those are the big name signings. Like I'm seeing names like Gabri Vega from Celta Vigo is very close to joining Chelsea since Mount's departure is completed. The right back is supposed to come in, right? Malo Gusto from Lyon. I've heard very good things about him. I mean, they're stacked. They have Enzo tied down till his death. If they bring in Caicedo, they bring in. I don't know much about Vega, but I mean, he's won. He's gotten some good praises this season. So, and they've also brought in Nkunku, whose quality is there, no doubt. So, yeah, I think make fun of Chelsea while you can, because I think they could be bouncing back really quick.
That's right. That's all we have time for today. Guys, thanks for tuning in as always. We hope you enjoyed your time with us. Remember to subscribe, to leave comments, and share with your friends. Follow us on social media at FOTBpod. Don't forget to leave a review, rating, and most importantly, don't forget to turn on those notifications. Join us again next time as we discuss the highly anticipated upcoming Premier League action. Thanks again as always. See you then.